will be May 1st, starting at essentially 6 o'clock. So I will offer, I'll move and offer adoption for the consent agenda.
Second.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Next are our ordinances. I'm going to have both our CFO, our bond counsel, and our auditor, who are right now talking amongst themselves, that they're going to...
I haven't seen them in a while, I was catching up.
that they're going to explain these ordinances and the process they went through, particularly with the ECA. So the first one is bond ordinance providing for the funding of capital portions of prior emergency appropriations, temporary emergency appropriations for repairs to buildings and infrastructure as a result of Hurricane Sandy in and by the Borough of Belmar, County of Monmouth, appropriating $1,640,000. Thereof authorizes issuance of the same amount of notes, bonds or notes of the Borough of Belmar, part of the cost thereof. So that's the first ordinance. The second ordinance is similar as well. But let's address the first ordinance, even though I imagine some of the questions that address the first will also address the second. Whatever comments from you will also address the bill. So, whichever one of you or Colleen would like to take the floor and address the
I can
council.
give the layman's overview
We
and
love
then
layman's
introduce
overviews.
the team. So this ordinance for the $1.64 million essentially is stating that the capital portions of the prior $2.5 million in emergency authorizations that were authorized, the capital portion of those authorizations total about $640,000. That combined with an additional $1 million that has become apparent that is needed to fund the capital recovery efforts such as road repair, roof repair, sewer infrastructure, will be funded through capital bond. So it is essentially reconfiguring prior authorizations into a better funding mechanism so that we do not have to, that we can finance them, we can get some better interest rates, and we do not have to repay all of those monies in our 2013 budget. Did I do okay? Okay. We have Robin Kirk, CFO, we have Tom Fallon, our auditor, and Matt Jessup, our bond counsel. So if I missed anything, if you want to elaborate on what I offered, please do.
Well, this is open for public hearing, so if there's any comments or questions from the public, please just raise your hand and wait to be called on. Any comments, questions from council members?
It's been explained to me, so I'm good with it.
I'm good with it also.
Yes, sir.
Ted Eman. Where's the mic? Ted Eman. Ted Eman, Oakwood Road. My question is, since these are Hurricane Sandy related expenditures in terms of repair and capital expenditures, are we still seeking 75% reimbursement from FEMA?
Yes.
Yes. And how's that going? Are some of these things already done? Have we filed for these?
We've already received over, do you want to answer that? I'm sorry.
Sure, we have received $2 million against our debris package. Our PW for emergency measures has been submitted. More costs will be added. Some of the projects, because they are capital in nature, could be quantified as rebuild. So FEMA does not entertain the reimbursement until project completion.
Okay, what would be a rebuild that you're anticipating for Borough?
I would argue that the library project,
Right, we've already started a draft PW, I can't say it's been actually completed for the library project, has already been drafted. We've also started PWs for our marina, which a portion of the initial work done at the marina, although we did another ordinance for the marina, some of the initial work that was completed at the marina, which was rebuilding our entire fuel pump operations, doing some of the initial rebuild on our electrical systems down there at the north end, the party boats. That is part of this. Those have all been already started with a massive draft PW on our marina project.
Okay.
So it have been submitted.
And the roofing, I noticed, was applied to another bond?
The roofing is applied, there was only one portion of the roofing. There were, I think, I apologize if I get, it's either 3 or 4 roofs, I count them off. The Third Avenue garage was applied to the beach utility bond, because that is actually a beach-related building. The Department of Public Works and the other 3 firehouses were applied through this bond as part of the capital
Okay,
project.
thank you.
You're welcome. See no other comments, questions, I'll make a motion to close the public portion for ordinance 2013-5.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. I will offer and move for adoption, ordinance 2013-5.
Second?
Councilman Deitch?
Yes.
Councilman Butler?
Yes.
Councilman Bianco?
Yes.
Mayor Barry?
Yes. Next is second reading public hearing, ordinance 2013-6. This is a refunding bond ordinance. The Borough of Belmar and the County of Monmouth, New Jersey, providing for the funding of certain portions of previous emergency appropriations and temporary emergency appropriations for emergency needs, a lot of emergencies, related to damage caused by Hurricane Sandy, appropriating $1,860,000 thereof, and authorizing the issuance of $1,860,000 refunding bonds or notes for financing the costs thereof.
So-
Mrs. Administrator, would you like to explain this in layman's terms?
Absolutely. So this ordinance essentially is stating that of that prior $2.5 million in emergency authorizations, $1,860,000 is considered non-capital expenses. So for example, traffic cones, ice, police cars, food, a lot of the emergency protective measures that we took to take care of our residents in the days after the storm. So this cancels the prior emergency authorizations and rolls them into a non-capital $1,860,000 into refunding bonds. And again, it provides us a better funding mechanism so that we can manage these expenses as we negotiate insurance and FEMA and all of those pieces.
Right, and I think one of the things to note is, we have to go through our insurance carrier first to see if we would be reimbursed for the expenses. More than likely, we're gonna get turned down, and that's when we go to FEMA for reimbursement. So FEMA won't reimburse us until we first go through our insurance, just like
People,
Is that,
your home.
pass them, come on.
have we heard back from the insurance companies yet?
We have, well, we're in constant conversation with the insurance companies. The vast majority of the monies that we have received thus far is $981,000, and that's mainly against our various building damages and losses, total losses. As far as the next tier of loss, that process is really starting as recently as yesterday when the inspectors started hitting the ground for Paulinks and Mannix, I think is the name of one of the adjusters. And they are looking at equipment, outdoor items we lost, like trash cans and playground equipment and things like that. So that process is starting. The insurance companies have had a massive amount of course work, and they're really just hitting the ground with some of the more small ticket items. Small, but big to us.
Any questions from the council on?
What are some things not covered by the insurance that we're finding out about, Hank? Do you know? Well, they're accepting what we're,
Well, I'll give you an example. The boardwalk is not covered by insurance.
Correct.
It's
But our
a,
streetlights are.
but our streetlights are.
okay.
Most of the police vehicles, all the vehicles, those have all been approved. We're still going through the process, though, of the equipment that was in the vehicles, the computers, the radar things. So those things are still going through the process. Some of our fire department's equipment that was damaged. So the vehicles were covered, now the equipment that was within the vehicle is under the adjuster's review at this point.
So the equipment is not considered the car, is that what you're saying?
It's part of the car. So like a light bar on a car, they automatically appraise the car just like that and tell you the value of it. They then go back and we give them a list of all the equipment in the car, they then go appraise that part. It comes in under a separate adjuster for the actual equipment that would have may have been in the vehicle.
And as far as the value that they're reimbursing us, say the playground is $70,000, like the ones we're doing, is that what we're getting, or is it kind of the value at that time, because we've had them for years? How have they been?
They're pretty much like every insurance company that you probably deal with personally too, where they have, they value it, they value it at the dollar they think it's worth, and which is why we go through insurance first, to see as much as we can get out of them, we'll maximize, and then we go to FEMA for the variance.
And how much did we receive already in insurance?
$981,000.
Almost $1 million.
Almost $1 million.
Great.
Just start.
Great. Any public comments, questions on this refunding bond ordinance? 2000? Yes.
I love this microphone. Ted Eman, Oakwood Road, Belmar. Will our insurance or will FEMA reimburse us for just regular expenses, things that are budgetary?
No, things that were in our operating budget or our responsibility to pay for.
All right, because when I did the Oprah request, there were a lot of those things in there. So when I did the Oprah request for bills related to the two bonds, I listed all of them, and it was 1.8 million approximately. But, there were things that when I looked it up online, they were like things like, Taylor Hardware. I remember Taylor Hardware ones where there were a lot of hurricane expenses. The one that was in the box had no hurricane expenses. That was $7,657. There were payrolls in, the January general payroll, and I noticed when I went back and got copies of that a portion of that was for overtime, but the major portion of the police and general payroll for those two pay periods, which is over $500,000, were not being, taken out of this or applied to this agency. There was the fuel, just a standard fuel shipment, which was kind of less than we normally buy for the marina, but that's a general thing that we always pay for from the fuel company for the diesel and so there were many of those. And I noticed that when I saw the first thing that we did to FEMA with these emergency expenses, that none of those things were in there. And then as I looking at the New Jersey bond law, according to what they say, you can't really bond, even if it's a refund bond, you can't really bond things that are just your regular operating expenses as a borough. All right, so I just had questions about that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, David?
David Schneck, 302 C Street. Two questions. First of all, about the police vehicles that were replaced. We didn't lose any SUVs, they were all Crown Vics, right?
No, we lost SUVs as well.
I don't know exactly what they lost, and the chief would know.
We lost SUVs. Yeah.
Mostly they were cars. Huh?
And most of them are cars, yeah.
Yeah, and when we get reimbursed, like, does the insurance cover flood damage for our cars, or?
Yeah, we have coverage on our cars.
Yeah, they pay for like what the car was worth, right?
Yeah.
So it was used Crown Vics mostly, right?
Yeah.
And we replaced them mostly with
The vehicles we
Tahoes.
needed to respond, yes.
Tahoes. So we're only gonna get paid for the value of a used Crown Vic.
Through insurance, yes.
Okay, that's the first question. Second question is about Moody's. They put us on a credit negative outlook before this $3.5 million that we're gonna bond tonight. And does anybody have any idea like how that's gonna affect our Moody's rating and our future interest rates?
Well, I can tell you that the last time we went out to bond, or the note sale, Rob was able to get us below 1%.
Yes.
0.9.
0.9%. We're actually having, and I just want to clarify that this $3.5 million, we've already actually dealt with the financing side of this under the $2.5 million of emergencies. So it's already been out there. It was actually part of our Moody's rating. Back in December when we did the Moody's rating was $2 million of this. And at that point, we also got, I think it was actually a 0.85% interest rate when we dealt
So
with it.
$2 million of the $3.5 was already, Moody's already had that information.
Absolutely.
when
Because
they,
it was part of the $2 million emergency
Right.
that we did back in November, which this is now refunded.
Right, and the marina borrowing, that wouldn't affect our Moody's rating either, or?
No, and again, my conversations with Moody's back in December when we did all this, basically they were considering the Jersey Shore a complete unknown at the time,
Right,
which is why some of these things happened, and we actually spoke to them about doing follow-up conversations as we got closer to the summer, and they saw that the Jersey Shore was coming back.
yeah.
So,
There were only a couple of towns that they changed the,
only a couple of towns actually went out and asked them for a rating. So,
Seaside Heights, and they asked them to,
we actually asked for a rating so that we
Oh,
knew
really?
we'd have it when we went out to sell notes. So
Oh,
I can tell you, I sold notes for another municipality recently. I did not go to Moody's to get a rating. I just relied on myself talking to the people,
that's it.
so.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, David. David gave us bacon. Be careful to get his wife. You may lose your hair. Any other comments, questions on this ordinance? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to close the public portion for ordinance 2013-6.
All in favor?
Aye. Next, I'll offer a move for the adoption, ordinance 2013-6.
Second.
Councilman Becky?
Yes.
Councilman Delmer?
Yes.
Councilman Nicolay?
Yes.
Mayor Gardner?
Yes, that ends our ordinance calendar. Next is public session. Public session is very simple. You sit in your seat, raise your hand, wait to get called on, come on up front. We don't have a microphone today, so you can be as loud as you like. Just speak to the mayor and council, and everyone's got 5 minutes. So any public comments, questions? Yes, sir.
Good evening. Chris Seiler, owner of 1203 Pine Tree Lane, Belmar. First off, let me say just my gratitude towards council, the borough of Belmar, yourself, Mayor, to using local building trades up on the beach here. Myself, I'm a member of Local 400 here. The guys up there, the contractors you have up there are, they're very skilled, they're knowledgeable, and they've all been hit by Sandy very hard. And I'm just, thank you for using local craftsmen here in the area and who are in-state, and you'll be very happy with that.
I just say they're doing an outstanding job.
I know. I've been with the trades for many years, and like I said, just more thank you for using them. And they've all been hit. They've all been up in New Jersey. You know, we all live up in the Jersey Shore here, and a lot of them, it means a lot to them because they've been out of work for a long time. So just thank you. But the other reason I'm here for, unfortunately, is water quality. I'm sure you've been hammered with this before, but first off, let me kind of approach here. To you or-
I'll check with the council. Yep.
Okay, that there is, here's the water sample taken from this morning, and here's a clear bottle of water, okay? I've been in contact with the Borough of Public Works there, with Franny, Mike, and Amy. And first off, let me say, they're very great people, they're doing a very good job, there's no problem with that. I wrote a quick email, well, a lengthy email to you the other day. I don't know if you got it. I'm sure you're a little busy. I wrote it on Monday. You might not have gotten to that, but I wanted to come here and just find, has there been any resolution towards the water problem here in Belmar?
Here's
What's
our
happening?
issue.
Sorry to bring this to you.
No. Believe me, Pine Tree, Briarwood.
Right.
River Court.
River Court, Oak Tree, Elm Street's okay?
Elm Street's fine, no
Elm Street's
problem.
fine. Let's move to Elm Street.
Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, you know, the pipes are shot.
Okay.
The water pipes are we just replaced them on 13th Avenue.
Okay.
And they went from that
Right.
to this. And
Okay.
they've told us they've never seen this clean of water.
Not today.
Okay, good.
But we have to get to other parts of town.
Right.
Now, one of the things that has not helped was New Jersey American Water changed some of the chemicals they use.
Understand, I've heard that.
And that's brought up some of what's sitting, the sediment in the bottom of the pipe.
Yes.
Now, if we replace the pipe, there's no more sediment there. So
Right.
the real solution at the end of the day is to replace the pipes.
Okay.
Now, what we are gonna do is we're gonna change over to our own water. Belmar has fantastic water. We have our own wells.
Yes.
We have enough water on our wells that we could provide everyone in Belmar for water, with water, less expensive than they do today. And we
Okay.
could even sell it to other towns, we have so much water.
Okay.
But the state of New Jersey prohibits us from doing that. And far before any of us got up here, they made a contract with New Jersey American Water to provide water a certain amount during the year.
Okay.
So right now, we're on New Jersey American.
Right.
So, anytime there's gonna be flushing of hydrants, you're gonna have bad water. Memorial Day weekend, a lot of times you're gonna have bad water because we have so many people coming to the town, so much water, it kicks up that sediment in the bottom of the pipes. Again, there's not a whole lot of money, grant money out there for us to fix it. We're gonna apply for everything we can, and believe me, we're very well aware of it. I mean, I've seen a picture of a toddler taking a bath in water like this.
I understand, I think that was on last radio.
Yeah, one of your neighbors.
Yeah.
You know.
I've heard that, yeah, I've heard that. I haven't spoken, I didn't know he did that, but it's
Right.
kind of funny that I did that. I'm being serious, I heard that yesterday, that someone took a picture with the top.
Right. No. So, I mean, believe me, I wish I had a better answer for you, and so does our DPW. We're gonna do everything we can, working with the pipes we have now, but that's the real solution.
Let me ask you a couple questions here. Are you saying at some point in time on Pine Tree Way, I know it's a lot of money, but that's a big problem there with the water quality. Obviously, your water quality is over and above the cost of the pipes. That's gotta be a number one priority, not the cost, it's gotta be the water quality. Are you saying at some point in time that will be done?
Has to.
Okay,
Has
has to be.
Has to be.
For right now, you're gonna be switching to wells through, you think that's going to clear that up through?
Our water department is very
It
confident
will.
it will.
It will. Is that a temporary solution? Because it's a temporary solution, then sometime in October, from what I understand, you're gonna be switching over back to New Jersey American Water. Is that gonna be back into that bottle again? We don't know, right?
Well, that's what we gotta talk with them about, as far as going back to the chemicals that they used in the past that did
Okay,
kick up this sediment.
okay, okay.
But,
Yeah, I just wanted, could you
Yeah.
explain why we can only use our own water from May 15th? That's something I think people need to hear.
I researched the issue quite a bit before the storm, and it dates back to some regulations that came out of DEP regulating how much you can draw from certain aquifers. And our aquifer, which feeds our wells, is one of them. And so there was a limitation placed on how much water we could draw from our own wells because it fell on that aquifer, and it necessitated that agreement with American Water. Even though the mayor is very right, there certainly is plenty of water there to fuel us all year round and even sell to other towns. We are prohibited by the state of New Jersey to do that.
And we start May 15th and end with our own?
I think we came off water on October 1st. It's in October.
we wanna use our water for as long as possible.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Just please make that a priority. This can't go on for much longer. This is absolutely, like I said,
It's like
this is,
water in a
this
third
is,
world country.
all right. Well, thank you very much once again. Is anybody going to get reimbursed for any of the water we've been flushing? Has New Jersey American talked about reimbursing anybody or with the amount of
We've
water?
had a lot of conversations and,
Yeah,
you know.
okay,
Yeah,
just please look into that.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, the history of that ruling
Yeah.
is because the more fresh water in the aquifer, it keeps the salt water out. If we use too much fresh water, then the salt water comes in and contaminates. So that's why they came up with an analysis of how much water we can use. But I don't think they realize that we need to use more of our own water in this situation.
I have two quick questions. That agreement, contract, it expires,
I don't remember it offhand, but I think it's for another 4 years.
it will expire, okay, okay. And why when we switch to our well, is it clear just because the chemicals, we don't use the chemicals to start?
Correct. So when we switch back to our water, we will do another flushing and move out as much of that muck water as humanly possible. And then we are on our chemicals that we control that doesn't create that turmoil and sediment.
Is there a way to ask them not to use those chemicals?
Yes, and we're already having those conversations.
And just, other towns are affected, Lake Como, Avon, Spring Lake, I think Bradley as well. So unfortunately, we're all in the same boat of dirty water. Any other public comments, questions? Yes, sir.
Mark Pfeiffer, 319 Fifth Avenue. On the long list of everything everybody is doing to bring Belmar back even better than it was before is Silver Lake and the path around it and the greening up of that beautiful area.
Yes.
You want to, yeah.
Sure. We are very close to going out to bid for finishing Silver Lake, which includes sculpting the bed, the berm, bringing back the cinder path, planting of trees, the rejuvenation of the lights, which we're already talking to JCP&L about, and fixing that valve at the outflow pipe. So I expect to be out to bid on that package probably in a couple of days. We're really close. Birdsall got a lot of designing done this last week, ironically. So we're close.
All right, great, thank you.
Come on.
Tom Volker, 301 4th Avenue. First thing I want to say is the marina. It is, the way it is now, in such great shape is because of Charlie, the manager, and the pre-work that he did, and with the help of the DPW. And so, I mean, he deserves a lot of credit for that. And also, the Belmar Business Partnership was able to send out a press release to all the papers around here to let people know that our marina is in such great shape. The other thing I want to mention or ask about is the Belmar Business Partnership wants to do cruise nights again this year. They've put in an application for the first one beginning third Thursday in May
How many get
for this year. There were 3 last year. They've been a really great success, it seems to me. But we have not heard about our application, and we need to get going on the plans for that. Can anybody tell me where that sits?
I'll take care of that. I'll pull it tomorrow and find out why it hasn't moved.
Thank you, Colin.
Back on Main Street?
Yes.
Nice. Thanks, Tom. Any questions, comments? Yes, sir.
Good evening, Jim Rice, Wall, New Jersey. I just wanted to ask Mayor and Council if they have any more specific information with respect to the building that's being proposed for development in the fall here in the marina, number one. And number two, more specifically, what are you looking to do with respect to parking to make sure that the existing users are not negatively impacted by that proposal?
Nothing more specific, and we're increasing the number of parking spaces there, including also back here.
That parking back here obviously is being utilized by clients and the Pied Piper building, which will be developed at some point in the not too distant future as per the proposals here. But relative back to the marina again, is there any kind of timeline when the public could expect to have more information with respect to what's being proposed there in the fall?
One of our meetings in May, either May 1st or May 15th.
Thank you very much.
Can I just ask a question? Are you insinuating that the people that have been there would have priority over the new people coming in?
I'm not sure if I'm clear as to your question.
You said something about people that have been there before.
Oh, there's been a working marina there for 100 and some years. There have been, private boat owners, charter boat owners, party boat owners. There's the, that kind of a use that's there currently. Then obviously, a year and a half ago, you proposed the development, including the golf course, the tiki bar, which has been, those two things have been put in place, but also a bar and restaurant at that point in time, with the idea that, well, parking will be put in place. Since that tiki bar was put in place, great venue, but it's created a parking issue for the existing users. So the question that I have is, what specific plans do you have to address that?
Well, I sit on the Harbor Commission with Tom Volker and many other fine people, and it was a suggestion that came about that we have other parking, for example, I call it the Acme lot, and what we would need to do for restaurant goers would be to put some signs up saying there are alternate places, the alternatives, for example, that area, and we would encourage them possibly to park there. Or there's some parking spaces along Del Boy Park. I know that also the arts building, that's been refinished, so that that the possibility of alternative offerings is apparent. So that might be something. We don't want to override the harbor or marina area with signage, but at the same time, that might be a good alternative. We have a lot of parking. People would have to cross Highway 35, but there is a light, and go to dinner there. So I think that's a possibility.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the marina parking is quite extensive. I don't ever see it even a quarter full, maybe an eighth full, especially with the new parking down by the miniature golf. And possibly the complaints are coming from boaters who don't want to walk that extra 50 feet. But I have never seen a parking problem there yet. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
Are you a boater, or do you use that area on a regular basis?
Constantly with my children.
Mr. Mayor, could probably drive, I know we've been at Ninth Avenue Pier on a number of occasions in the same evenings when the entire parking lot is full, all the way down to the trailers. I can ask the police chief, police are stationed there. There are nights when cars are driving around and around, not boaters, people looking to occupy Ninth Avenue Pier, but it's both, where from north end to the south end, all available spots are taken. Not one night, not 2 nights, many nights. So,
Correct, Chief?
That's it.
I haven't seen that, so.
It's business.
But alternative parking, it's not off the table. I think that's
And that's what I'm asking.
fair because that Acme parking lot is pretty close to the marina. And there are alternatives.
I understand that, but again, if you look at that on many evenings, there's several very successful restaurants there now that occupy that space. So I'm asking to
It's a big
find.
lot, though. It's a very big lot. And in the evenings, other than that wonderful restaurant we have there, I think that's a strong possibility.
Other than what wonderful restaurant?
Well, the one that is on the corner there, used to be Viva's. Yeah.
You're talking at the,
I beg your pardon?
you're talking in the Acme parking lot?
I am.
That way, because you've got your 10th Avenue Burrito, but you've got several others in there as well that are very successful restaurants. But, okay, so at this point in time, there's nothing specific as to how you'd address that, is what the answer is?
That's correct.
The only other possibility is a parking garage, and the cost of that is off the charts.
And I'm not even suggesting you should do that. I'm just suggesting that if there's, for current use, already an existing problem, before you add to that problem, why not really look long and hard at that? That's all I was.
Thank you for your
Yep.
suggestion.
No, thank you. I'm just trying to get back down here.
Yes, Chief.
Jean Folger, 514 13th Avenue. I actually have 2 things. I just wanted to comment what that gentleman said there. And I know that there is parking in the Acme parking lot. There's other parking available for the marina there. I, however, feel that the parking in the Acme parking lot and across 35 poses somewhat of a security issue with people crossing the highway. I just happen to know, me personally, on 2 different occasions, people have walked out of there right in front of my car where I had a green light, and I had to, one point, I actually had to screech on the brakes and like swerve to avoid them. Another time, I did see them in enough time where I didn't have to do that. So if that is to be suggested as alternate parking, I think we need to make that light, the light there by the marina crossing over the highway, we need to do something there to make it a little bit more secure for people to cross at that point.
Last year, when it was busy, we had a police officer down there.
Yeah, but on both occasions when I almost hit somebody, nobody was there. So I don't know what the hours for the police department are or whatever, but I tell you, it was a harrowing thing for me. Like I said, I'm doing the speed limit, which is 35, 40, whatever it is, and they really, 2 people stepped right out in front of me. And I know that happens any place, but you have a bar there and people are drinking, and sometimes they don't maybe use their best judgment when crossing. So I just think that,
You mean after they've been drinking, they don't use their best judgment?
well, some people don't do it before either, but you know. So that was just a comment on that. My other thing is, I was here about a month ago and I did inquire about any progress being made to repair the area down by FOBH, the floating docks, that area. I know at that time you were talking to FEMA and trying to assess the issues. I'm wondering if there's been anything. I'm concerned about this. I have a special place in my heart for FOBH. My daughter belongs there. There's probably 150, maybe more families who do belong there. It's a great program. Not only do they have the sailing program for the kids, they have a charter school from North Jersey they bring down. Those kids have no other opportunity to experience sailing and have that type of thing. You have the kayakers, the boaters, the paddle boarders, the divers who all use that facility. You also can't even walk the promenade along there without getting that repaired. I would really hate for that program to be shut down for this summer. I know there's a grand scheme laid out for McCleary Park and that whole area there, but from what I'm seeing, the money for that probably isn't FEMA related or anything else, so that whole big plan might be very far down the line. I'm wondering if there's anything we can do, or if we can do, if we're in the works of doing, to get at least that small section over by FOBH where they use, get that open and so they can be operational for the summer.
We've, along with DPW and FEMA, have been looking at all of the marina, inclusive of our docks down there that FOBH uses. We certainly have many dock issues down in the marina, even though we are 92% sold in the marina and it's a great number, there are many dock issues afoot. So we are working as hard as we can to redesign those docks. We're going to be going out to bid for those docks. And again, managing the timeline, we're going to do it as quickly as possible. But it is a very big project.
So what, in your opinion, what are the chances of us having this operational for this summer?
I've had many conversations with FODH, and they're trying to push as well to see if they can find somebody who can do a temporary repair. So we've had that collaboration.
They're also looking for an alternate site, and I'd hate to lose them. I mean, I think there's a big benefit to Belmar to have them there. A lot of kids have gone through that program.
We're working as hard as we can. I know it's not the best answer.
No, it's not an answer at all. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Gene.
Mike Short, George Comitas, 111 3rd Avenue.
Citizen of the Year, ladies and
No.
gentlemen. Citizen of the Year.
I'm not citizen for my morals. I just wanted to ask you, please help the first aid by buying the $10 donation for May 3rd, DJs for autism benefit. That's all.
George Comitas.
I did want to mention one thing. Every time I give my report, I do try to mention to buy locally, especially in Belmar. But with the weather becoming nicer and the businesses starting to put their tables outside and their umbrellas and getting some outside dining, it's really starting to look nice. And I know when the weather's nice, you want to go outside of the area and maybe go to parks, etc. But please try to remember buying down.
Thank you.
Hi there, Paul Carew, 110 4th Avenue. Good evening, folks. First of all, I want to congratulate you for really smart thinking on building the boardwalk with more than one concrete ramp access. That's just smart. I mean, they didn't have it in the past. Talking to the people today, beach workers, and now they can enter all the heavy equipment in multiple locations, much more efficient. That's the kind of smart work we want to see. And you guys are doing it, so thank you for that. Question, when are the street sweepers going to start going again? I've got sand in front of my house for 4 weeks.
I'll tell you, our DPW director, Mike Campbell, can't be with us tonight because he's got a family emergency.
Just plant the thought, I don't expect an actual answer.
Our street sweeper is
Not healthy?
not healthy.
It's got oxygen.
We may have to trade our street sweeper for yes.
So the new street sweeper is absolutely on the horizon. It's a matter of when, but we are also working very hard with the county because they have a wonderful fleet of sweepers and they'd be great to come help us out. So we're in talks with them to see what we can do.
This is still Sandy related. Can we get it under that perhaps? So this is beach sand that made it up, at least for a while.
Yeah.
Just throw it out there. I don't expect an answer. Let's see, what was the other thing? Oh yeah, beach access. We were actually on the news about how beautiful it was on the Belmar beach, but the police are kind of not happy that we were there because it's closed. This is the best advertisement for the town. People are coming down, they want to see the beach. I think you ought to let them on. It's not really dangerous, you know?
And you're absolutely 98% there, right? So our biggest issue right now is until the railings are up on the boardwalk, we have a liability issue with letting people on the boardwalk. So that's why the boardwalk is closed and it needs to stay closed. If you enter the beach from First Avenue, you can certainly have access to the beach and walk the beach and enjoy the beach. And you know, the police are not actively chasing people off of the beach once they get on there from First Avenue, but that's my encouragement.
Right. But First Avenue isn't going to do the deal. I'm talking about our customers that go 16th and 13th. How about a sign that says, at your own risk, like people swimming at night? I don't, railings are not really critical.
We can ask our insurance company.
Yeah, I'm getting a waiver
The
from
only
it.
issue is if someone goes up there and trips and falls and.
We've got ramps, you know.
There's
I
always-
mean, I think it's a little too
Crafty
conservative that way. I think it'd be a good idea to open up. I'm not talking about my access, because I'm going to go on First Avenue. But I'm talking about all the people that are getting ready to come down this summer,
Particularly,
not allowed on. They're
think
going to
about
drive
this-
by and leave.
This Friday, we're gonna open up to 17th. So if people are driving their car to 17th.
And what do?
Right.
They
they're
stop
gonna-
and then they can't do it.
Right, so, I mean, we know, and our police can't stop everyone. and we don't, it's not practical. But we'll check with our insurance company. Believe me, if we could open up
It'd be a good thing
immediately,
for
I would.
us,
It'd be a
the
huge
merchants
bump.
and everybody,
Yeah.
to get them going.
And
Those people are
everyone's
dying
itching.
down there, and they need to.
Particularly our own residents are itching to get on.
Oh, I'm with you on that. So, okay, that's about it. Good job. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Paul.
Colleen, when's JCP&L going to fix the lights around the lake?
So we had a very good dialogue with JCP&L, and they had actually not gone around Silver Lake to inspect them pole by pole.
Okay.
That was 2 weeks ago that we had that conversation. So we asked them to front burner that inspection and identify lights that were safe to turn on now, and see how we can control the disconnect of the damaged poles with the juicing up of the poles that are functional. I expect to know next week how that's going. And then as soon as their intent is as soon as they finish Ocean Avenue lighting, hopefully by Memorial Day, which we're all pushing for, then they will refocus on Silver.
And that's a good point, by the way. If by chance lighting is not completed on the boardwalk by Memorial Day, we do have a Plan B.
Yes.
It's not nearly as attractive, but it will still be safe and secure, and people will be able to walk on the boardwalk even in the evenings for evening strolls. All right. Tom again?
Tom Volker, 301 4th Avenue. I was just wondering, when you're talking to insurance about going to the beach, if it would be possible to set up a crossover point at maybe 12th and 16th, or 11th and 16th, so you'd have 1st, 11th, and 16th. A crossover point with railings, that would be, that section would be safe. It might be a way to open up the beach and also, you keep most people off the boardwalk itself. Just a thought.
Well, catapult.
Catapult.
All right, seeing no one else, I'll make a motion to close public portion here. No second?
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you.
Right.
Better than